Well, the top of the morning to you. Brian Buffini here with our mid-year bold predictions. We've been doing these bold predictions now for 15 years, and happy to say our track record's been pretty good. Today might be the most important mid-year bold predictions I've ever done. The market is in the midst of significant change. The media is reporting things in such a way that is causing a lot of confusion. And I feel because so many offices now are remote, so many agents are also somewhat confused by the information that's in the marketplace. More than ever before, I see agents getting their information from the media. Now, this is nothing new. When back in the day, when I'm 37 years in the real estate business, and we used to always bemoan the newspapers. Remember those things? And we would always say, we're paying all this advertising as realtors, and the articles are so bad about real estate. Well, nothing's changed. Only today we have more sensational clickbait and a lot of misinformation and 24-hour now finance news cycles that need to be fed. And so it's hard to see the forest for the trees. So we're going to do that today. I have 3 points for you today I'm going to cover, as I always do. And this is a big deal. Whether you're in real estate or not, we have obviously a huge real estate audience tuning in today, but we have hundreds of thousands of people on this show today. And if you're not in real estate and construction represents 16.5% of the U.S. economy, the largest economy in the world. So it's the most important sector in the entire world economy. So when we talk about the real state of real estate, it's the real estate of the entire market. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the real state of real estate. We're going to talk about what's up with mortgages. And I have a great guest for you today, a man I've known for 20 years with one of the most prodigious resumes in the history of real estate, in my opinion, a man whose information and insight I respect enormously. And then lastly, we'll finish up today by finishing the year strong based on what you hear, based on the adjustments you need to make. What do you need to do to finish the year strong and then ultimately set yourself up for what will be a very significantly different market in 2024 than what you've experienced in 2023. So let's talk about it. We're going to talk about what the media said and an airplane tried to stall the plane. And the demand is so strong they still couldn't do it. They couldn't do it, with rentals even. So I do believe we're on the doorstep. There's people coming. It is supply and demand. Their number one goal is to own homes. And like you say, there's pent-up demand for sellers to move, right, downsize, upgrade, whatever it is, move out of state. And now they're like, once that delta gets to an acceptable number, it's going to hit us pretty quick. And so what I want to do and what we'll be talking about at the end of this show today is how to prepare in the third and fourth quarters and then ultimately what's coming in 2024. And we're going to get into that here in a minute with your projections. But before we get into that, one of the questions, Dave, that I'm just getting peppered with a lot, and I just think your unique perspective would be great for people to hear. Obviously, we had some banks go down. We've heard it's the run on the banks. It's here comes It's a Wonderful Life, and so a lot of people are concerned about the health and well-being of our banks. What's your insight on that?
Well, look, we're not out of the woods with the banking system. Mm-hmm. Signature Bank and Silicon Valley Bank were unique. They had long investments in 30-year mortgages and other long treasuries that they thought were going to bring them a good return. What they didn't realize is as the Fed raised rates, short-term rates, their depositors, who were big dollar depositors, demanded higher rates to be paid on their deposits.
Yep.
And so they ended up becoming underwater. They were earning less than they were actually paying depositors. Mm-hmm. It was a very unique scenario for Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank because they had a high concentration of large net worth depositors who demanded higher rates. But it is a problem. And what the other shoe to drop, so to speak, is commercial real estate. And there's a concern about what's going to happen as all this commercial real estate has to refinance into pretty significantly higher rates and what that'll mean to their cash flow and what we call cap rates and things of this sort. Mm-hmm. But the big banks are safe. The banks are FDIC insured. And really, in the end of the day, consumers should not worry as long as they're keeping their balances below the limits. And while there may be some fluctuations and perhaps a few more bank failures, not a lot, but a few more of Other banks that had similar portfolios like Signature and Silicon Valley. We'll deal with that as we go forward. But I really think as it relates to all of us in looking at real estate and looking at housing demand, it really has no relationship. If anything, the banking securities are keeping the Fed on edge. And it's one of the reasons why they paused this last time.
Right.
And it's one of the reasons I believe personally they're not going to do more increases. But that's yet to be said.
At the end of the day, even if they do a small one, it's going to be short term. They're going to see it very quickly. I have 4 buildings in our campus here, hundreds of thousands of square feet. Here's the bottom line. I have 78 employees that now live out of state.
Yeah.
We have people come into the office 3 days a week. We don't need all the square footage we used to need. And that's just a matter of life. And it's COVID kind of accelerated it and moved it down the path. But I think, there is definitely some issues coming with commercial real estate. Other than the banking structure and asset, I don't think it really affects, it won't affect the ordinary everyday agent, and it won't affect 95% of their customers.
Yeah.
So I think you're bang on there. Okay, here's the sexy part, Dave. We call this the bold predictions. You've already alluded to it. I just think you got a great handle on this. I think it's going to be very encouraging for people to hear this. I really don't think they're hearing this anywhere else. Give us your projections for the rest of this year and into 2024. Interest rates, transactions. What do you see happening?
Yeah, so I'm going to share with you some data. This is a forecast looking forward on a variety of things. I highlighted existing home sales and new home sales, as well as interest rates. This year is going to be a tough year. 2023, if you look at existing home sales, it's going to be about 4.2 million home sales, down from the 5 million that happened last year. And 2021 and 2020 were great years too. But if you notice in the forecast, the expectation is for ever increasing home sales. In fact, going out 2 years from now to 2025, it'll be a year bigger than last year. It'll line up to be the second or third biggest home sales year in American history. And it's going to be fed by those demographics that I showed you. And the low supply, which will improve enough to meet this demand, but still won't be enough. It will ensure steady home price appreciation, low single digits as we look in the outer years. People need to not focus on the here and now, because the here and now is an awkward technical environment brought on by the Federal Reserve, trying to control an overheated economy, which, as you said, is going to turn into a slinky as it heads downstairs in just a short bit here.
Right.
And that's why it also leads into our interest rate forecast, which is ending the year at sub 6% and literally going down into the mid 4s next year. And by the way, that will be complemented with a couple of Fed rate reductions in 2024, which they will have to do because they will have pushed us into a mild recession, and they will be reversing course, not as dramatically as they increased rates, but they will reverse course slightly as we look into the next year.
You bet.
All of this is bullish, in my view.
Yeah. Well, it's fantastic. I mean, look, if I'm sitting here today and I'm an agent and I go, okay, our 30-year rate in 2022 was 6.6, and by the end of 23, it's 5.6, and by 24, it's 4.8, and by 25, it's 4.5. I mean, those are magic numbers. And Powell has been, if nothing, he's been consistent about this. He wants to get to 2% inflation. He wants to get the rates into 4% territory. And like I say, you've got the supply and demand. We got that giant number of millennials, which is the core. You have employment, you have population, you have demand. And real estate has continued to become, I got a son who's just gotten engaged, and he and his fiance are looking for a house, right? So it's where it's at. It's always where it's been. I'm decades at it. You're decades at it. We have a lot of the reporters today, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but we have a lot of people who do the reporting today. It's done in a technical fashion. Many of them are in their early 20s, and they've never seen any other cycles. They've never known anything other than the last 11 years where the prices just went up. And so I truly believe this is great information. It is a hopeful picture. I think we've passed the bottom. We've gone from 5.1 million transactions. We're going to finish at 4.2 and a half. That's a big drop. I mean, it's almost 20%. That's a big drop off. That's very significant. People are feeling that. But
Yep.
now you can start to build them up. And it's like buy the dream home. You're renting the rate, as you say, and then refi. You might have a year to wait. You might have 2 years to wait. But you're in the ballpark. Transactions are going to go back up. And then people who put off selling are going to absolutely be back in the game wanting to put their house on the market.
Absolutely.
Well, Dave, it's brilliant stuff. He's Dave Stevens, and he's the CEO of Mountain Lake Consulting. And you can reach out to us if you're looking for a little bit of help from Mountain Lake on with your organization. These guys are fantastic. Dave, your insight is always fabulous. And we
Thank you,
appreciate
Brian.
you making time for us today and our audience. It's just marvelous that we're able to bring this information to people. And for a lot of agents, I know they're going to feel hopeful. I mean, again, I already was doing this research. I had my sources. And when I saw your stuff, I went, it just gave me a great night's sleep to know, okay, this is where we're headed. It all makes sense to me. And, the future's looking bright, and we can do well if we're a pro and approach it in the right way.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brian.
Well,
Good to be with
Dave,
you.
thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you. Best of luck. God bless. Good health. And we'll see you real soon.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Dave. Well, I hope you found that stuff as interesting as I did. I'm also pretty enthusiastic and fired up. I encourage people to get on today's broadcast because I felt like you'd be hearing something very different than what you've been hearing. Also, different than what you're experiencing. And this is really a critical thing right now. And if you really want to be a pro, you have to act different than your emotions. You also have to prepare different than your current experiences. Your current experience might be that your business is down 20%. Now, we have a lot of our clients who started the year a little bit behind, who've now caught up. But maybe you're not one of those folks, and you're feeling the pinch of the 20% drop in the market. But you need to understand here's what's coming. And so this information and how you present it, very important. So I want to thank the team Buffini & Company because they've moved forward our annual Brian Buffini's Real Estate Report. And what we've done is this report has about 10 pages in it of information on buyers, information for sellers, information on the rates, and as well as this information you just heard from Dave Stevens. You can take this information, you can download it, put it on a laptop or an iPad. Some of you will take it and repost some of it on social media. I just ask that you give credit where the information has come from. That would be appropriate. And we also have for our Canadian friends, we have a Canadian version for you. If you're just listening on the podcast, you want to check this out. It's buffiniandcompany.com/BP 2023 resources. And here's what we want to do. We want to empower you. We want to inform you. We want to encourage you so that you can encourage and empower your clients. People need to know this stuff. They need to know where it's coming from. And they need to have confidence in it. And it's very different than what's going on. Now, one of the reasons for it is everything's so political now, and we'll be getting into a political season. So anything that looks like optimistic or hopeful news can't be shared by the people who are out of power, and will be poorly shared by the people in power. And so we want to give you the straight story, and that's what we're giving you here. I would also say for any of you agents that have a broker or a manager, any people who are team leaders, you want to make sure that you go to our leadership conference in Austin, Texas. It's in September 7th and 8th. The information I just shared with you changes the whole game. And I'm going to show you why. Your entire strategy as a real estate agent and as a real estate broker needs to change significantly based on the information just shared. And that's where we as a coaching company come alongside. It's great to hear that rates are going down from 6.6 to 5.6 to 4.8 to 4.5, but what do you do about it? It's great to hear all these millennial buyers are coming. What do you do about it? It's great to hear there's pent-up desire to move. What do you do about it? And I'm going to share with you right now what you need to do with it and how you need to finish this year strong, make the money you need in order to build your business for 24 and 25, which, as Dave just shared, 24 is set up to be a big comeback year, more than 500,000 more transactions than this year, and 2025, 500,000 more transactions again, the third or fourth best year in the history of real estate. So I want to talk to you about what to do, because the last time we ran into a super hot market, not so long ago, it was very chaotic. Many people were submitting 20 and 30 offers and not getting their buyer represented and getting shut out and weren't able to take time off. And many agents, as good as the market was, were burned out. Well, I'm going to share with you today the Buffini & Company strategy that we're going to give to our members and the people we coach and the offices that we coordinate with and brokers that we have trained as mentors. This is what we're going to be doing. And it's really about focusing on the listing end of the business. And so I'm going to share with you right now how to finish this year strong and how ultimately to set yourself up for next year. So here's the first thing you need to know. It'll be a busy fourth quarter. And my question is, are you ready? The vast majority of agents are just in a reactive mode. Are you ready? Now, I know Brian Buffini is often branded as the old school calls, notes, and Popeyes guy. That is true because these are the fundamentals of lead generation. Oh, where's all the online stuff? We have all those strategies for you. But like I shared with you earlier on, our average coach member makes $460,000 last year doing these fundamentals. So I'm going to challenge you to do some of the fundamentals right now. Here's the number, 38,000 versus 460. I'm just going to say this, as plainly as I can speak. If you are a real estate agent or a mortgage lender and you did not make $460,000 last year, you should take a half an hour and go and do a free business consultation with Buffini & Company and see if coaching is a good avenue for you. If you didn't make 460 grand last year, you're missing out. You're missing out. We're doing this not with one person, not with 10 people, with thousands of people. And they're anywhere from 10 to 12 times that of their peers based on what data you research. Our number is verifiable. If you didn't make $460,000 last year, you probably need a bit of help. So come to us and find out. Now, I'm going to give you a bit of help right now. I'm going to give you a couple of resources this minute to generate some leads. So I'm going to share with you a couple of simple things you can do. It's summertime, right? It's the middle of July. So here's a little tag. This is a pop by tag. We encourage you to go pop by the people in your database. That was the graph we showed you a minute ago. And so it says, I've got your real estate needs in the bag. And then you go and buy a little tote bag, okay? And just pop by your customers. Download the tag, go to buffiniandcompany.com/BP2023 resources, and this is one of the tags you can get. Put it on a bag, go see your customers. If they're not there, drop it at their door, take a photograph of it, send them a text, just pop by to say hello. And you'll see on the bottom it says, oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your referrals. Here's a very popular one. This has worked for years for people. And this is call me for the latest scoop on the real estate market. Well, we've just given you the scoop on the real estate market. That's the real estate report. Some people could attach the real estate report to this. Some people will do a little ice cream scooper. Go visit your favorite clients. Go visit them at their place of work. Go visit them at their home. If they're not there, leave it on the doorstep. Take a picture. Send them a text. I pop by with a little gift. Follow up with a phone call. Here's another summer pop-by, which says, enjoy the sun, have lots of fun, and remember your referrals are number one, right? Kind of corny, funny stuff. This works great. Maybe a little sunscreen, lip balm, pop-by. Again, there's 3 tags we're giving you to go and do some pop-bys face-to-face right now. Why? Because the market bottomed out about a month and a half ago. It's on the slow ascent. Time to get in the game. You can tell them, just like Dave Stevens encouraged you. You know, you buy a house, buy the dream home, rent the rate, and refi when it comes down, okay? Here's Wendy Moore from Danville, California. I want to show you how inexpensive this stuff is. She went out, she just did our little tag that we gave you, the Enjoy the Sun pop-by tag, bought some Coppertone Sport sunscreen. Wow, SPF 70. I didn't know if they made it that high. She must serve a lot of Irish people up there in Northern California. $2.50 a piece, okay? She distributed 25 of them. So 25 bottles of sunscreen, went to see her favorite people. It cost her $63. She made $17,875 in commissions. Now you start looking at the rates of return. What's the rate of return on $63 to get to 17 grand? Okay? There's Colombian drug lords that don't have a rate of return like that, for the love of Mary. It's simple. It's fun. I know it's, oh no, I'm looking for the next really sophisticated digital marketing system. And those are the same people making 38 grand a year. If you want to be a winner, you got to do what the winners do. Get out and see your favorite people. Download one of the tags. Bring them a little gift. Say hello. Time to get out and about. Here's the second thing I want to share with you about finishing the year strong. Spring will become selling season once again. We have not had a typical selling season, and the selling seasons have always been very predictable in real estate. And for 50 years, spring has always been the time where people put their homes on the market. It's always been selling season. That was until COVID hit. And that's turned everything on its head since then. I believe you're going to see a very typical selling season. And that's why there's this pent-up demand to move. There just is. People have not wanted to leave their rate. We just talked about it with Dave. When the market gets hot again, if you don't want to be a chaos agent, you better become a listing agent. If you want to go back to being one of 27 offers, you want to get strung out and wrung out, just keep doing what you're doing and react when the market reacts. But let me say to you, that was a burnout market. That's not the way to have a sustaining career. We need to get back to the practices that would drive listings to us. And what's happening is all these people that are sitting on their rate right now will continue to sit on their rate through the rest of the year. You have to do the groundwork now. And so let me share this with you. At Buffini & Company, for those of you who are members, all of our coaches are really going to be focusing on this in the fourth quarter this year, making sure that everyone has the resources and tools to become a great listing agent and expand their market share. And if you're a broker or a team leader, you run a large real estate company, I encourage you to be at our leadership conference in Austin in September. But let me say this, the key for you is market share. And the only way to have market share is to have your agents generating listings. It is crucial. If you want to participate in the rebound that's coming without it burning you to a crisp, you got to become a listing agent. This is an example. This is one of the resources we're going to give you right now. We're going to give you right this minute. It's 3 reasons to speak with your real estate professional today. Have you thought about selling? And then some cool data and some cool information just like we shared with you. So again, same place. Go to buffiniandcompany.com/BP2023 resources. Those Popeye tags are there. That listing marketing piece is there. And also, that's where you can get a free business consultation with Buffini & Company. If you're making less than $460,000 a year, I don't know how to make it more plain. Some of you are struggling. Some of you have really bit hard. Your lifestyle went up in 21 and 22, and now you've had a 20% drop off. If you're not making $460,000 a year, look, come and find out what we do. We'll give you all this stuff to get going, but it's probably time to get a coach. And so do a business consultation. Whether you get a coach or not, it'll be one of the best investments of an hour you've spent in your business, period. The call won't last that long. But the fact of the matter is they'll do an assessment with you. They'll ask you a bunch of great questions, help you think about your business different. And then we'll find out if where you're at is a good fit for what we have. The last thing I want to encourage you here today is to get your business in shape. Here's the Fab Four. This is the criteria by which we measure the success of our customers. Number 1, more referrals. Number 2, more sales. Number 3, more income, which means you're not spending all of what you make. And number 4, time off. I'll say them again. More referrals, more sales, more net income, more time off. That's the criteria by how we measure how you're doing in our system. I think that's the criteria of how you need to measure yourself. Are you getting more referrals? Are you making more sales? Are you creating more net income? And are you taking more time off? The goal is we don't want you to just make $460,000 a year. We want you to make $460,000 a year and beyond while living a good life and having a business and a bit of balance at the same time. So what have we shared with you today? We covered the real estate of real estate, and sure enough, here's all the headlines. And all those headlines are going to keep popping off. That's why we have to market, communicate, mail, email, talk to our customers, pop by our customers. We have to use the resources. You members, you got to use all the resources we're giving you in order to inform your customer. Go and get the real estate report. Go and start sharing that with your customer. Okay? We're going to start sending you more and more great stuff, okay, in order to prep the groundwork, especially for listings. The second thing we covered, we did an update with Dave Stevens and what's up with mortgages. And again, that's a man who's around this business 40 years. Brilliant insight. He shared with you the historical perspective and he shared with you the modern aspect of his up-to-date research. He's on everybody's board. And so he's getting data from all sources and I trust him implicitly. It confirms what I've been getting from Dr. Lawrence Yun, the chief economist at NAR. It confirms what I've been getting from Bob Barr, the chief statistician at Wells Fargo, and all the other resources I have available to me, including the thousands of people we coach. And I'm certainly, my entire company, we're taking our entire focus and shifting it. We'll be shifting our coaching, we'll be shifting our training, and we'll be shifting our resources into the fourth quarter to hit the ground running, to finish the year strong, and then to ramp up for a great spring selling season. And my goal is that by this time next year, all of our customers are in a spot where their year's already made. So we want to finish that year strong. So as I mentioned to you, all these great resources are at buffiniandcompany.com/BP 2023 resources. You've got your business consultation is there. The free pop-by tags are there. The real estate report is there. And the 3 reasons to speak to your real estate agent today is there. Also information on that leadership conference. If you're not a broker or manager, talk to your broker or manager. You're going to want the leader of your company to be trained in what's happening with the market and how to adjust. Well, I've come at you with a lot of stuff today, but I will tell you this. Overall, I have not been this excited and fired up in a very long time. I really believe we're getting to a beautiful place where it's going to be really good for consumers. It's going to be really good for buyers who want to buy, sellers who've been wanting to move, rates that come back down, and for real pros that take their time to build the relationships, do the groundwork, and get those listings. And when the market comes back flying, let me tell you, it's a lot easier when you're sitting on the inventory. And so that's my hope and prayer for all of you. Real estate's a great business. This has been a bit of a tough year, and I'm excited to see that 2024 and 2025 is going to be so strong. I've seen the projections Dave was talking about for 2020, 2040 and 2050 on where prices are going. Let me tell you, now is the time to buy. Now is the time to invest. Now is the time for you to invest in yourself as a real estate professional. Get the help you need to prepare to finish the year strong so you can have a great 2024 also. Well, hopefully this Bold Predictions has lived up to its billing. I hope you've learned a lot. I hope you're enthusiastic and fired up for what's to come. I hope you come and get a business consultation and find out if Buffco's right for you. We'd love to help you get to the level of that 460 that we've taken so many thousands of people to last year. Thanks for joining me today. I hope to see you again real soon. God bless.